So how do you teach yourself and others to conduct the best, the most compelling, the most engaging online/virtual presentations? Because a lot has changed, right? In the last few months, year. Presentations were something you gave in person. And now and then you may have done a little Zoom call here and there, but everything has switched. Big pivot has taken place. Now we need to perform when we're online and not just show up and talk. We need to accomplish. If we haven't met, my name is Francis Wade and welcome to a webinar here at Carib HR Forum. If you're hearing me and you're alive and your fingers are working, just drop a note in the chat so I know that you're hearing me fine. And welcome tonight, where it's all about the secrets of giving effective online presentations. Or in other words, how do you pivot so that you're effective when you're presenting here at online, here at virtual, here at Zoom, here in Remo, here in any of the tools that we're now given to communicate to others with. And tonight we have two very special speakers, and I'm going to be introducing them in just a moment. But the challenge that people have is very, very real. As you know, there are lots of people out there who are presenting who are not doing a good job. If you're not used to Remo, by the way, our slides are going to show up here in the chat. And to see them very clearly, just click on the slide. When you click on the slide, it'll open up and it'll fill up the entire screen. So tonight is not just, about fun presentations and having a good time. It's also about being effective. And we're also going to add the dimension of training other people, training other employees in their being effective, because your CEO, he needs to be effective, and guess who needs to train him? It could be you as the head of HR. So after our introductions, I'll be introducing Jamila and Georgia. They're going to be speaking for a while to give you the distinctions, some ideas, some principles around effective online presentations. Then we're going to be doing a conference mode or table exercise. We're going to go back into conference mode. If this is your first time, we're here in presentation mode now. When you came in, we were in conference mode. You're going to come back after doing that exercise. We're going to do some reporting from the teams. There's going to be some awards and some judging. There's a competition. And then we'll be closing out the evening, going back into conference mode with an open networking session. I heartily recommend and invite you to stay around so that you can meet other HR practitioners from around the region. So let's see who we have. We have Miguel. Hi, Miguel. Seeing you there. And hang on, I think this slide is the, whoops, I have a couple of slides out of sequence. Oh boy, all kinds of things happening. You may know that we are in a build-up phase to our conference. And could someone drop the conference registration in the link in the chat? Conference is now open for registration. It's a bit early. It's September 16th to 18th, but we're going to be announcing all kinds of prizes for early registrants. So you may want to jump in at this point. There'll be some discounts. There'll be some gifts. There'll be all kinds of fun things to do. But our conference is coming up in the next few weeks. You can expect to hear from us with respect to some networking sessions. So this is the final webinar in our series. What's going to come up next are networking sessions where you get to meet other people, mostly in conference mode, from across the region. And to highlight one of our sponsors, the reason that we at Carib HR Forum can offer these free webinars is why? Because we have a sponsor. So you can see a link at the top of that. Could someone drop that link, type that link and drop it in? Or maybe I should take a bit of my own medicine. Oh, I didn't copy that. Oh dear, that link is a bit lost to me at the moment. Guys, if you can drop that link in there faster than I can, please drop the link into oh, here it is. Okay, to our conference sponsor, Mark Rim. If you want to download their free report from 2018 to 19, you can do so right away. It's absolutely free. And again, we want to thank them for sponsoring our conference. It wouldn't be a free event. Now, not everything in our conference is free. As you may know, we also offer an all-access pass, which gives you full access to all the replays, video, the live replays, and the pre-recorded replays, which probably are going to come up to about 50, 60 videos this year. But you'll have access to all of them for a year for a price, depending on whether you're a member of CaribHR Forum or not. So if you're not a member, this is a good time to join. community.caribhrforum.com. So we're not the only people who are having virtual conferences. Tonight, Jamila is here courtesy of the Brand Print Summit. And I think that's brandprintsummit.com. It starts in just 2 weeks. Yeah. And as you can see, there's a little picture in there of someone that you know, me, and I'll be speaking at that conference. And it's all about going from, I guess, zero to hero, invisible to impactful in just 12 months. So you can expect to walk away with a plan for taking your personal brand to the next level as a result of attending that conference. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Jamila and then a little bit about our other presenter, Georgia. So Jamila, and here am I searching for Jamila's, oh dear, and I'm not finding Jamila's profile. It's an evening, one of those evenings. So I'm going to introduce Georgia. Georgia is no stranger to presenting at workshops and delivering keynote speeches, and credits her proficiency in that arena to her years of involvement with Toastmasters International. She has spent over 20 years working with individuals and organizations through her coaching, HR, business psychology, and facilitation skills. Georgia owns Corporate Options, a consulting firm, and served in senior HR roles in Jamaica and Trinidad. And she's also a behavioral coach, a senior certified professional. She's SHRM certified and a certified mediator. She is a volunteer with We Say Yes and Girls of Impact. She's no stranger to us. Georgia has been volunteering here at CaribHR Forum for ages. And I'm going to ask Jamila if she can introduce her, if she can forgive me, if she could introduce herself, because I obviously didn't get the whole thing straight. So I'm going to invite them to join me here at here on the stage. Jamila and Georgia, can you turn on your microphone, your camera? Join me up here. And Jamila, could you introduce yourself?
Hi, Francis.
Hi, Georgia.
Hi, everybody.
And I will turn over to you guys and turn over to Jamila in particular.
Hello, good evening. Hi, Georgia. Hi, folks in the audience. Nice to see you. Nice to have you here. So I was kind of quickly trying to send Francis my bio, but time caught up with him. All right, so my name is Jamila Banaza. For those of you who have not met me before, who've never seen my face, heard my voice, I'm a personal branding strategist, and I work mainly with people who are in transition, entrepreneurs who are looking to build their business to take it to the next level. And I help them do 3 very specific things, help them to get more strategic, come up with a plan, and be more confident in executing that plan. I help them with their content, so be more strategic in terms of creating that and putting content out there that positions them as an authority in their space. And also I help them with their communication and media and PR so that they can amplify their voice and take their message to the masses, right? So that is what the personal branding process includes for me. And I'm happy to be here tonight to be able to talk to you a bit about, along with Georgia, about how to present engaging workshops online. So that's me. Georgia, are you ready?
Yes, you're passing the baton on.
Yes.
I'm Jamaican, Jamila. I know how to receive a baton. Yes, and I'm going to run with it.
Okay.
So, engage everybody now in the chat. How many of you watch the Olympics? Just put a hand up, a thumb up, something. All of you who watch the Olympics. Let me see. Just drop it in the chat. Put a thumb up. Say, yeah, me, whatever. Just put something in the chat so we know that you're there. Yes. And I'm sure we're all very engaged. And we were all happy when we saw Margaret. I see Margaret grinning. Yes, wonderful. So it's so important to have people engaged. They're engaged. It says something. It says they feel that they're involved. It says they feel that they're taking part. It says they feel ownership. And it's the same thing that we want to ensure when we're having our online events or online meetings, whatever function it is that we're doing. We're hosting a meeting or we are leading that meeting online. We want to make sure that people are engaged. And to help you to do that, it's important for you first and foremost to understand why you're doing it. Why in the first place are you having this meeting online? So let's set the stage. You can have several different ways of meeting with people. It can be a telephone call. Why not have a three-way telephone call? So if you have established your why and you understand why it's important for you to have this online meeting, that will help you with everything else that's going forward. So once you understand your why, then it's important for you to understand who needs to be in that meeting. Who are the persons who really need to be in that meeting, who need to contribute to that meeting, or the persons whose input will be important to the success of that meeting. And then you have to understand when you're going to have that meeting, because you know why you're having the meeting, you know the people who you want in the meeting, but you don't want to exclude them because the time that you're having the meeting is excluding these people. So I think it's very important for us when we are planning our online meetings or events, whatever it is that we're having online, that we understand these very three basic things. Why we're doing it, why have it online and not having it by telephone, who are the persons who we need to have in this event, and when are we having it? Now we've had that down pat. We as HR professionals, and whether or not you're an HR professional, over the last year and a half, you've been having lots of meetings online. And I can hardly think of anybody now who has not been meeting online. And I know as HR professionals, there are many of our events that we are accustomed to having face-to-face. And it was almost sacrilegious for us to start having some of these online. So let's take, for example, a disciplinary hearing. Some of us have never had a disciplinary hearing that is not face-to-face. And we're now challenged to have that online. I'm going to ask Francis now. Francis, I want us to do a poll, a quick poll. Can you do that poll for us? We're going to be asking people. Yes, and Francis has dropped that in. So I'd like you to click on that poll, and that is going to be asking you to give us some information, to tell us how comfortable are you with hosting online meetings. So I want to give you a minute or two. Yes, Francis. So you want to give them the instructions on how to click and receive it?
Yep. So people are entering their names. As you see, I see Natasha, Nashroon, Samantha, Akisha, Tanit. Just enter your name and hit return. And when we get up to a decent number, then I'll enter the question. So folks are just entering their names. Share the screen, show you what's happening here.
Yes, let's see that. So we're asking you on a scale of 1
just keep entering. Just keep going and going and going. 16 people so far.
Good. So you're a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being very uncomfortable and 5 being very comfortable. So you're now rating your comfort level. And it's coming in. Let's see the results coming in. So 3 out of 5, yes, we're seeing them coming in. It's moving. We're at 9.
I don't think there's a 5. I think it's a scale of 1 to 4.
Oh, you did 1 to 4. Okay, that's fine.
It looks so.
There's a box below. There's a box that we're not seeing on the screen.
No, I think it's a 4. Anyway, folks will get the idea. Yep, there we go. Okay. The numbers are going right up.
Okay, good. 20, 22 out of 24. Yes, there's a 5. They're saying there's a 5, Francis.
Oh, that's a 5. Okay, good. Yeah. Just not seeing
a little piece of a box that we're seeing, but we're not seeing the number in the box.
Okay. All right.
24. So you want to
let's
see what the results are now.
There you go.
Here we go. So look at that. Okay. So 4 seems to be the highest rating.
Yep.
The major one. Good. So most people are uncomfortable, not very comfortable at all with hosting and leading online events. So you're in the right place. We have established that early, that you are in the right place. Good. Thank you very much, Francis. So let's talk a little bit now about some of those tricky online meetings or events that we're having. And I mentioned earlier about a disciplinary hearing. And I said before that we generally are uncomfortable having disciplinary hearings, whether face-to-face or online. And the discomfort that we have face-to-face is even going to be greater when we're doing it online. Because for disciplinary hearings, already sometimes it's a charged environment, atmosphere. People are at their wits' end, it's adversarial, and it's difficult to be gauging the kind of atmosphere and temperature of the persons you're dealing with. So when you're doing a disciplinary hearing online, you have to be very deliberate as to how you set it up. As the leader and as the host, you're going to also have to be very deliberate as to how you show up. There is no way that online you can be doing a disciplinary hearing and they're not seeing you. So your camera has to be on. It's very important also for an event like that, for a meeting like that, that you set the ground rules from very early. So you let persons know in that disciplinary hearing what are the expectations. So you need to be seeing each person on camera. People need to mute their phones so that there's no distraction. They can't have other persons in the room with them. Basic things like that. What I'd like to do now is to engage you. Have you ever had a disciplinary hearing online since the pandemic? Is there anyone online who has had a disciplinary hearing? An online one? No. Anybody so far? No. Lucky for you. No, I'm seeing the no's coming in. Wow, that's lucky for you. I'm happy that you have not had that experience. Someone has said yes. Tennille has said yes. One thumb. Okay. All right, good. So it is very important when we're having those conversations online, and these are very sensitive conversations, and we have to be in tune to people's feelings and the pulse check. And so when you're doing that, you want to make sure that you are visible. You want to make sure that your body language is a positive body language. And we're going to speak a little later to body language. You also want to ensure that there's mutual respect. And how are you going to do that? You have to mirror the kind of behavior that you want your other persons and your other participants to have. So it's very important that you're mindful of that. I want us to look at another one, another tricky one. One about interviews. I'm sure almost everybody now for the last year, you have been conducting your interviews online. Let's talk about that experience. We've most times been accustomed to having our interviews face-to-face and having that person sitting across the table with us in that room, because we get a chance to judge them from early. We see when they walk in. Sometimes even we get feedback from our security persons, give us an idea as to how the persons entered our building. And the interview starts there many times. Now, when we're online, we do not have that luxury. We don't have that opportunity. So we only see them once they click that camera and we see them on. And they have that button that says we can hear them. So when we're doing our online interviews, there are certain things that we need to do. We need to make sure that we are seen. We need to make sure that we are modeling the behavior that we want so that we are mindful. Our phones are not going off. We're not distracted. We're not having other persons walking behind us. So that's another tricky one. That's the interview. And let's talk about another one, a performance review. I want to ask, have you ever done a performance review online? Can anyone there tell us, have you done a performance review online? Yes? I'm sure you've been doing quite a few of that. Nope, somebody says no, not yet, coming up. No way. Miguel says no way. And that would have been unheard of a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, because we feel that performance reviews deserve that face-to-face interaction. But COVID has caused us to jump online with those. And these are also very sensitive. Yes. So what somebody said, no, last set of performance reviews were face-to-face. And the new ones, the new set that you're going to be doing now may jolly well have to be online. So what are some of the things that you have to consider when you're doing performance reviews? We're going to be talking a little bit about that. So I have now framed the scenario for you. I have set the scene. I have spoken about some of the challenges that you're faced with. What I'm going to do now is ask Jamila to come in, and Jamila is going to come with some solutions for us. Jamila, over to you. So while we wait for Jamila to come up, yes, there she is. Jamila, over to you.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Georgia. Hi, everybody. I'm glad that you are here. Please give me some energy. I like some energy in the comments. Give me some thumbs up. Give me some claps so that I know that you're ready for the next stage. Yeah, Tremette. Full of energy. Gail, I see you. Jacqueline, Dr. Miguel, Francis, Lynette, Joan, everybody. Okay, great. So now that Georgia has set the stage, many of you are in. Hey. So many of you may have been in positions where you have to basically perform people functions over the internet. Human resources is really the human in the organization, and you want to be able to really have that in-person, face-to-face, interaction. That's really essential for your job. But now you actually have to transition. So when Georgia did the poll just now, we found that many of you were comfortable, but some of you were also uncomfortable with regard to delivering presentations online or delivering whatever you have to deliver online, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the reasons why you possibly might feel uncomfortable with that. So I'm going to drop this into the chat, and we're going to talk about some of the reasons. Now bear with me, guys. This is my first time using Remo, so I'm new here. All right, so I have about 5 reasons why you might feel uncomfortable. So you can just click along on this slide and follow me, right? For 4 or 5 reasons. So 1, you get the silent treatment on your call. So, when you, especially if you're performing something like a disciplinary hearing, oh my God, you're probably getting the silent treatment on the call. Nobody's talking, nobody wants to really interact. And I don't know how many of you have ever faced that. If you have, please let me know, type it and say, yes, I have faced that. People give me the silent treatment. Guys, I present all the time online and I know silent treatment, right? Another reason that you might feel that way is because, yeah, I like to call it the ghost. You get the ghost. People come on, they're on Zoom, but the camera's off and their mic is off. So you're in a meeting and only blank screens, blank screens. And I know that could really be kind of defeating. It's like, talk to me, but I have other things going on. So you get the ghost, you get the blank treatment, right? So Sharon is saying that she hates this. Yes, for sure, right? And sometimes, participants seem bored, they're just kind of staring at you. And as a result, you get anxious. Sometimes you're kind of wondering, oh my gosh, will these people click out? And, you're thinking about your own performance. You want to be able to keep people engaged. And Liana saying it can get draining. And it is very true that it can get draining when people are just like staring at you and they give you the ghost, right? And the 4th reason that you might feel a little uncomfortable is overwhelmed with the technology, right? So you have to transition into this new environment, and you have to suddenly become savvy with all this software and all this hardware. And I mean, sometimes you never know what's going on. I mean, look at us tonight. Sometimes we can find things, sometimes we can't, and you really have to be able to become comfortable with that and transition to things easily, right? So, but fear not. These problems are all solvable, and I am going to share some of that with you. Right? So I want to share with you why I think people may actually be giving you the ghost and giving you the silent treatment, and why they're just like generally bored, So once again, I'm going to drop why I think that is the case, right? So this happens when. So these are the reasons why that is probably happening. So 1, you're not addressing the audience's needs. So sometimes, so Georgia mentioned a few scenarios where you may be required to do things online, so like disciplinary hearings, assessments, but what about things like training, what about things like interviews? So all these things tend to happen, and sometimes when you don't address the audience's needs inside of the scenario, you didn't stop to find out, okay, so what do people want to learn this year, or what is their need for in the organization right now? So maybe you're just trying to check off a KPI in your strategic plan for the HR department, right? So you really have to kind of dig deep and really be in tune with your organization, so that when you prepare things, people are actually you're looking forward to it and you're anticipating it and you really are in tune with them, right? The second is, of course, you don't build engagement into the presentation. So it's really important that you build engagement into the presentation. You let people know what you need, right? And when you don't build, you just come to deliver and you leave. It's like talking to a wall, guys. It's like watching paint dry, right? That's what it's like. So third, you forget that it's a dialogue and not a monologue. So it's really important. Like right now, we are having a dialogue. I'm talking to you, you're talking to me, and sometimes people completely forget that it is a dialogue. So I'm looking at some of the comments, and Dale is saying unmet needs for sure. Jassy is saying low energy. Worst thing is to be in a virtual with low energy speaker. Oh my God, can you say it again, Jassy? You just spoke the word, right? So Georgia is saying, think about the participants' needs, not right, and that's very true, right? So, of course, you bring low energy to the screen. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine having, like, you're on a way to a funeral, like in a funeral march? You don't want that type of speaker. You want somebody to energize you, and you want somebody to take you to the next level when it comes to whatever you're delivering. Even if you are in a disciplinary hearing and the energy is charged up in a particular way, you have to go in there with a game plan. How do I break this tense energy down so that we could get through this with as little collateral damage as possible? It may not always be possible, but at least try to have a game plan for that, right? And the final thing is that you have not mastered the technology. So you're going in and out, you're asking people, are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? Are you seeing this? And after a while, people just get like, what is that person doing? They need to get it together. They should have done a dry run. They should have tested their technology, right? I'm sure we've been on calls like that where you're like, this person just does not have any idea what they are doing, right? So these are some of the reasons why people may very well feel why, the trigger reasons why, things may not be going your way. Right. So let's talk about, so of course, at night when you get home and, you think about what you're going to do the next day, what do you do? Right? What do you do? Let me see here. What do you do when you get home and you're sitting down and you're studying what to do next? You take it to the Lord in prayer. You ask Jesus to fix it. That is what you do, right? Or whoever you want to ask, that is what you do. So you say some prayers and you try to tackle it the next day. So Jesus help you, but I'm here to help you too. So here are some solutions I think can help you. All right. So I'm gonna drop another slide into the chat. So look out for it. So these are my secrets. I'm getting the secrets out of the bag. So these are my secrets, right? I don't know if it's exactly 8 secrets. I think I named the slide wrong. But in any case, these are my secrets for having a highly engaged presentation. So of course, you want to start with your research. You need to fulfill the audience's needs. So fulfill the needs of the audience. Give them what they need. Don't give people things that are irrelevant, that are boring. They don't want to learn about that. Things that are buzzy at the time. Right about now, lots of people want to learn how to use technology. Many people want to learn how to present online, right? And this, of course, these rules apply to whether or not you are presenting live or you're presenting in a pre-recorded fashion, because every time you present, remember, when somebody looks back at it, it is live for them. So you want to ensure that they have that live feeling every time, okay? The second is that you want to set the tone for engagement. So that means you want to tell the audience you need their support and you need to give them instructions on how to do it, right? So people want to know what to do. People want to be led. Are y'all agreeing with me? Y'all feeling this? Let me know. Give me some hearts. Give me some thumbs up, some claps, so I know that you guys are on the same page with me and you really kind of relate to this as well, right? So it's important that you give people instructions. So you tell them, here's what, this is what we're going to do today, and I need your help to be able to accomplish this, right? And you get agreement from them as you present. Right. And so Tremette to say, if you lead, they will follow. And that is very true. People need to be led sometimes. All right. All right. Thanks, Samantha, for the thumbs up. So the third one, of course, is that you want to use stories in your presentation. You want to use examples, stories from your own life, stories of use analogies. People like hearing stories, and storytelling is one of the most effective ways to get your message across and keep people engaged. So try to prepare some stories and allow people to kind of get a feel for you outside of the stiff context of work, because a lot of people really see HR departments, as that's like a big stick, and you really don't want to have that type of culture. And I suppose it speaks to the wider culture of the organization where you're in, but you can create a culture within your own department, right? So using stories is a way to get your point across without being too harsh, but in a powerful way, right? So you definitely want to tell stories. Another thing is, of course, you want to use polls and chat boxes like the one we're using tonight, and quizzes like the one we used before. That's a great way to get people involved in the discussion, right? And I love the way you guys voted tonight, and I like the way you guys are interacting here with me. And yeah, it's pretty cool, right? So you want to use that as much as possible. And of course, I'm going to show you how you could get some of that done later on. Another thing that may be really useful is that you want to do done with you demos. And when I said done with you, you may have some sort of demo where people have to have a pen and a piece of paper, and they write something down, and then you ask them to brainstorm something and then write it down again, and then everybody gets a chance to kind of present, right, and show what they have. And you get a chance to participate in an exercise with them as well. So you want to do some done with you demos so everybody feels a part of the presentation. So it's not just you, again, encouraging that dialogue as opposed to the monologue, right? And you definitely want to test run your systems and tech. You have to do that. You absolutely must test run your system before. And that's one thing you must do. Test. That is one of the hallmarks of dealing with technology, because things can really go off. One thing you might set up, and when the automation didn't go off, you're wondering why it didn't happen, why the email didn't go out, how come nobody got the invitation. You need to test your stuff, and you need to definitely test your platforms, right? So that is what it is. And of course, I want to drop the biggest one of all. Oh, come on, Remo. Come on. Don't keep the people in suspense. Above all, I need you to bring good energy. And this is done regardless of whether it's pre-recorded or if it is live. As I said, it is live for people when they look at you. And you don't want to be that person who is just like, oh my God, it's like listening to the color gray. That's what you'd be like when you think. So I know Dale asked in the beginning, not Dale, sorry. Georgia asked in the beginning, how many of you watched the Olympics, right? Now, I don't know if you remember, now the rhythmic gymnastics is one of my favorite activities at the Olympics. And you know why this particular Olympics was really special? You remember, there was no audience, so people couldn't come out because of COVID. But you know what? When I saw those rhythmic gymnasts come out onto the floor, and they walked up with their heads high, and they had that ball in their hand or that ribbon or whatever they had in their hand, and they stepped out and they did their routine, and when they've done, they stood up and they smile and they wave. Who they waving at? Nobody. But you know what? They brought the energy to the floor because we were home and we were looking on. So even though we may not have been right in the stadium, they were performing essentially for a pre-recorded audience, because many of us kind of watch back some of the things later in the day. We didn't see it when it was live, right? So the point I'm trying to make is that I want you to be like a rhythmic gymnast. Bring that energy regardless, because whenever people watch your video, especially if it's pre-recorded, they're going to see it as though it is live. And you want them to feel the same energy. You want them to feel pumped up in the same way you will when you delivered. Remember, this is a performance, right? This is a performance. So it means that you're going to need to get comfortable with yourself and comfortable with delivering online. You would be amazed how much you transform when you start to really let go and really get into it. So now I am going to invite Georgia back up so that she can complement what I'm saying here with some more stuff. And talk a little bit about how your own body language contributes to this energy and you performing well. All right, so Georgia.
Okay, great. Thanks for those tips, Jamila. Yes, now the day when I look like that gymnast, that's the day I'm going to have the most engaging meetings. All right. Listen to this. This is a team huddle that I'm having. Good morning, team. So today we are going to be talking about the performance appraisals that we all need to do. And as you know, we have the timeline and must be submitted next week. So I'd like all of you to pitch in. Hello? Somebody said that's what they sound like. Listen to me. Yes, I see the Z's coming up. Yes. Oh my goodness. I would never want to be in that team meeting again. So what we're going to be doing, it's important for us when we are having any of these sessions that we are connecting with people. Dropping something in right now. So let's see. And it's coming in, it's uploading. We want to make sure that we have the 3 C's for effective online meetings and that we're connecting with people. So we're making that connection. We're also making sure that we're giving them an opportunity to contribute. So that's the contribution of each person. We're also giving them the opportunity to collaborate. So when we're connecting, it means that that persons are saying, I feel engaged. I feel like I'm part of this. I feel engaged when I connect with others. So you're giving them that opportunity. So you're starting your meeting by finding out how they're doing. So that's the connection, the contribution. They feel included when they pitch in. And with the collaboration, you are making sure that they're working with each other. So let's talk about it. In your team huddle, usually how do you start out? Do you have a check-in with your team? Anybody? Do you have a check-in? Is that part of your routine when you're having your huddles and your meetings? Yes, I'm seeing some things coming in. So you're doing a check-in. You want it, and particularly during this time, the COVID, so many things happen. There is nothing that is static now. The only constant is change. And so it's important that we have our check-ins, that we do introductions, how are people going on in their lives, do a pulse check. And I've left one empty there, one of those bullets. You can add what it is that you feel is an important thing for us to be doing when we're having our connections, when we're starting our meetings or huddles, whatever meeting it is, just to ensure that we're being present to everyone and everyone is present in that meeting. So Gail is saying, has everyone had their cup of coffee? Yes, I like that. Because coffee wakes us up and there's some of us who love a cup of tea. So Gail, make sure to ask about tea as well, not just coffee. You have some tea lovers who can't stand coffee, so include the tea lovers as well. So that's the connection. We have to make sure we are making that connection because we're people and people love to feel a part of everything. We want to make sure that there is something that hooks us. My 3 C's are connect, coach, and communicate. I like that, Nazrun. Yes. Connect, coach, and communicate. I love that one. So that's the first thing. We're starting out right. We're connecting people, connecting one with the other and making sure that they are present in that meeting. So let's talk again about another one. Let's look at what we're doing now. We want to make sure that people are contributing, that they feel that they're part of this. And how do we give them an opportunity to contribute? So we're opening the floor. It's not just about the person who is leading or hosting the meeting. We want to make sure that other persons have responsibilities in that meeting because that's when they feel really a part of it. So you designate roles. Someone might be able to be taking notes of the meeting. Someone is following up on the action items. Someone is recording. So many different things that we can give people to do. So we're designating roles. And we're also inviting comments. So you're making sure that everybody's voice is heard. That we're not having ghosts or that we're not having any one individual who is taking up the entire meeting. So we're connecting with people and we're ensuring. So let me see what Tremet is saying. Persons should also come to these sessions with the intention to participate. That's so true. And here's where that comes true. When we do our preparation before the meeting. So we give people an indication before they come into the meeting what's going to be happening. So we have our structured agenda and we can tell people what roles they're going to be playing. So it primes them up. and it gives them much more opportunity to be present in that meeting. What's Natasha saying? I say with a smile, if you don't volunteer, I'll volunteer you. Yes, voluntold them. Yes, I love that one. Good. So yes, to set the tone, and that's exactly what we're saying. So we're saying we are modeling the behavior that we want to see from our people. So we're connecting with them. We're giving them an opportunity to contribute. And the other thing that we want to do, we want to make sure that we're collaborating. Because if it were a meeting with one person, that's fine. But it's a meeting with more than one person. So we must give them that opportunity to collaborate. So it's activity time. What are we going to do to ensure that people are working with others? So if it's a workshop, if it's a training session, if it's your team huddle, you can have a role play, you can have group work. So I'd like you to drop in the chat now something else that you usually do in your meetings that gives them that opportunity to collaborate. So outside of the role play and a general group work, what else do you do to get them to contribute, to get them to collaborate, and also making sure that we have that connection? So can you drop something in the chat to tell us what you do? Right? Someone can host a segment. Yes. Usually do a Kahoots quiz. Ah, that sounds good. I don't know that one. That's a new one for me, Tamika. Interactive activities. Wonderful. Yes. Volunteers. Aha. Okay. Some Rochelle is saying that brainstorming using whiteboards. And it's so important too for us to get familiar with the technology, because some of you who have already been on Remo with us, you will see that Francis uses Benji, and that's one tool that gets people involved and gets us to collaborate as well. Breakout rooms, wonderful. Yes. So we're saying for us to ensure that we are in, it's a social environment, and we want to make sure that first and foremost, we're giving them that connection. We are in their space and we are present. We want to make sure that they are present as well. And then we are giving them that opportunity to contribute. And we're also now making sure that there's collaboration. So somebody's saying their experiences with these topics, right? So we want to make sure that it's related to them. We want to make sure that everything is relevant to people, because once it's irrelevant to them, that's when they start tuning out. And once they feel that they're excluded, they start tuning out. So when we make all these connections, it makes it much easier for us to have that inclusive presentation. Shared Google Documents, yes, and round robin, yeah, round the room intro. Okay, wonderful. I thought somebody was saying round robin. That's wonderful. Good. So all of these tips are wonderful tips. And Jamila is going to come back now with some more things to help us, some of the technical stuff. So Jamila, you ready to come back on? And while we wait for Jamila, Francis, you can start priming up the next thing that we will do.
All right, guys. So, how are y'all feeling so far? Is it good? Are you learning something new? I hope Georgia and I brought some good value here tonight, and that you guys are enjoying it so far, right? All right.
Jamila, I'm wondering, maybe we could ask Francis now to do the Benji so that they can say how they're feeling now, because we've spoken quite a bit so far.
All right, no problem. You can do the Benji. Yeah.
Yes. All right, Francis.
Oh yeah. So Francis just dropped the link in the chat there. So guys, could you give us some votes? And just give us a sense of course, this is us practicing what we preach, including you in the presentation. So go to Benji and let us know. If you are learning anything new at all or refreshing things that may have been there already.
Yes. And this is a good opportunity for them to be using this technology and learning the technology, and also practice it when they go back into their offices.
Yes, indeed. So far. Okay, so Francis is saying 18 people so far. So yes.
Particularly what to load for me. So I'm wondering if anybody else is having a challenge. Hopefully they're not.
Hopefully not. Oh, he said wrong link.
Oh, Francis said sorry, wrong link. And we did that on purpose, folks. We did that on purpose.
Yeah.
We're doing all the troubleshooting now.
We knew what we were doing. We knew what we were doing all
Yes.
along.
Yes, Gail. So Gail, we give
Yes.
it right? And the follow-ups, bleeps and blunders.
Yes.
So we
So
do
this is an
all that
example of,
here so that when you go live, you get it right.
yes. So testing the technology, this is
Yes.
it's just us doing that.
Who remembers now with Olympics, we always say victory and what? The agony of defeat.
Yes.
And this defeat. I'm typing it.
All right. Okay. So Francis just dropped the new link. So guys, just go in there and kind of give us a vote and let us know how you're feeling. We want to, feel the room, test the temperature. So just give us some vibrations.
There you go.
So
all right. So Francis said one more time.
Yes.
Folks, and you see, it's important that, and I'm happy that this is happening too, because sometimes when these things happen, silence. While you're working, still doing the troubleshooting, you need to ensure that you're still having people engaged.
Yeah, for sure.
So Francis is saying 15 persons so far have answered. Question is up, right?
Yes.
Right, so
ooh. Are you guys still hearing me?
yes. It seems using you a minute ago.
Oh, okay. So these are
look at some of
the words. All right. Somebody's charging like a Vikings. Oh my God! I'm currently watching that show right now on Netflix. So this is so appropriate.
Oh my word, hopeful. Yes, positive.
No, I have to go back and watch the other episodes.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm glad you guys feel energized and refreshed.
Yes.
And all right. Okay, cool, Georgia. Thanks so much. All right, guys. So that was really fun. All right. So now I'm going to share a bit of what I did is I designed and I kind of put together some technical aspects of putting together presenting online. Of course, this is where the hardware, the software comes in, right? So for many of you, I don't know how many of you were very familiar with the tech that requires to run online shops. How many of you were familiar with it before the pandemic? Or were very familiar, as intimately familiar as we are required to be now? Tell me in the comments like me, or I was familiar, little familiar, very familiar, not familiar at all. So let me know what you were in the chat. All right. Okay. So this is some of the. Okay. So somebody says I'm breaking up. Some people say sound is not clear. Hello. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me again? Oh, I was saying, how many of you were very familiar? What level of familiarity? Right. Some of you are saying very familiar and not familiar, etc. All right. All right. So you guys are hearing me again? Confirm with me. Confirm with me. Tell me if you're hearing me again. Let me know if I need to refresh my page. All right. Okay, good. So you're hearing me again, right? Okay, good. So here's some of the things. So these are some of the things I want you to do to how to set up your space. And this is the hardware. All right. So some of you may have been somewhat familiar, but now the level of intimacy we required to have with our technology is like the technology is now our colleagues as opposed to actual people, right? So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to work on your space, right? On your backdrop. So so if you have a backdrop that you can easily put up, and then sometimes you may be required to have a green screen. So a green screen is always a good thing to have, and you definitely want to sit in a place where nobody can walk behind you, right? So you don't want to have people walking. I mean, how many videos have we seen of people walking up and down and their towel is off, or they're eating something, or they're half dressed, and that is being beamed all over to all the employees. You definitely don't want anybody's butt crack showing up behind you or anything like that, walking up and down on the phone loudly. So you want to sit in a space where you want to sit in a space where people can't walk behind you. So sit up against the wall, or sit not by a window, sit up against a wall, or behind in front of a shelf. You definitely want to be in a place where people cannot walk behind you and distract you, right? You also want to simplify your background so there's nothing too busy to distract. So maybe a simple painting, maybe something nice, complimentary. I don't know how many of you saw the BBC story recently where they interviewed a girl online, and she had, I mean, this might sound a little much, guys, but she really did have a dildo in the back stuck on the bookshelf. I saw that, right? It was very distracting. I think it was beamed all over the world, right? They're saying don't let mommy sit behind you. Yes, so don't let different things, so you really want to manage your space. That's really important, right? It's particularly if you're senior member staff, you really want things going off key. I mean, we do know that you're home, so there's some extent of forgiveness, but you want to control that as much as possible, right? And of course you want to get a green screen. So sometimes you may not be in a place where you can have a good background. You may not be in a place where you may have a painting or something that's not busy. So just get yourself a green screen, go into Canva and make a backdrop, or many pieces of software actually come with backdrops now, right? So you can actually do that. Zoom has a green screen, and I'm not sure if Remo has one, but most of us use Zoom, and I think Microsoft Teams has that as well. So you want to get a green screen, right? So the first thing you want to do is to manage the space. So Tamika is saying, yes, I close off the entrance that would result in people walking behind me. Yeah, and that's really important. You want to manage your space. It's just kind of managing your office, right? People can't be coming in and out. So the next thing is really important, and I think people underestimate this, is the importance of having good lighting. So lighting is really critical as well. You want people to be able to see you. Sometimes you're at home, and sometimes inside of our homes may be dark, and we don't realize how dark it is until we get on camera, and then you realize, oh, it's like, it's like dawn in here, it's like dusk in here. So you definitely want to have good lighting, right? So lighting and glasses, somebody saying lighting and glasses is stress. That's true, because I have my glasses right here next to me and I didn't put them on, right? But what you want to be able to do, so I suggested some lights here, and these are simple lights. So right now, I actually have the EMAT light. If you click on the slide, you'll see I have that one. And what I have done is that I have supplemented it, as you can clearly see it on one side here. So what you want to do is you want to be able to have lights that are around you, to create that softness, and so that it doesn't cast any harsh shadows anywhere, so that people can actually see you, right? So Natasha is saying, I strung up fishing line across my home office and pin up different fabrics depending on the mood. Oh, that's nice. That must be a really nice mood, Natasha, right? So yeah, so lights for sure. I should have asked my brother who's into photography and video production. He gave me some good advice with regard to the lights, and he always talks about shadows and lights. And even if you have one light in your room, it's an overhead light, you want to have that light in front of you, right? Because what tends to happen is when people put the light overhead, it casts the shadow down, or certainly if you put the light behind you, you start to look as though, like you're like Jesus coming down from heaven with a glow around you, and it's just a dark silhouette, right? So you want to put the light in front of you so it lights your face, so that people can actually see you and they're not wondering who they are talking to, right? So a ring light help. A ring light is the most basic light that you can get, right? But of course there are other lights, and in this presentation, you could see the lights on the slide. You could definitely upgrade it if you want to get the umbrella lights, but I mean, you may not necessarily want to go that far, but start with a ring light. That definitely helps, and it definitely gives you some more light, right? So yeah, so the next thing I want you to keep in mind with regard to setting up your space is sound. It's very important that we keep in mind that sound is critical, because even if people cannot see you, they certainly want to be able to hear you loud and clear. So I dropped some recommendations for a couple of mics. So the Lavalier mic Exactly, mic etiquette, of course, you know. And we also need to know how to manage that, right? So the lavalier mic, I have that here, the purple panda, it's very good, you know, and that is a good mic if you want to jack it, let's say, into your phone. Let's say maybe filming something with your phone, and you want to be able to get a crisper sound. Of this, it works well on Android phones. These new Fandangle iPhones, it may not really work well, but it works well on the previous iPhones I could jack in. It works well on machines. So it's a really great way to get good sound at a low price, right? So I have the Purple Panda mic, and I don't have a Blue Yeti mic, but it's a really good mic, so I definitely suggest it. I have another one here called Fine. I don't know what one this is, but you know, you want to get a proper mic for your system, and you also want to get a pair of headphones, you know, because headphones sometimes may be the best thing for you to use to avoid feedback, etc. So, okay, so let me read some of the comments, right? So Tamika is saying, I have a lapel mic. Yes, very good. It's very, very useful. And yes, Trumet headsets are also good. I have a Logitech headset, and Logitech is a great brand. You can get stuff with Logitech. I have Logitech mouse, I have Logitech headphones, and I'm actually going to suggest another Logitech product soon. The Caribbean cock-a-doodle-doo from next door always gives us away. Oh, that is so true. Oh my God. And let me tell you all something. I have a flock of parrots. I don't know if you heard them earlier, but there's a big flock of parrots that lives where I am, and they're always making a whole bunch of noise. You know, parrots are really noisy. So I just call it accents of living in the Caribbean. So don't worry about it, you know, depending on where people hear you from. Just tell them this is paradise. That's the sound you hear in paradise. You know, birds are having a good time. We are having a good time. It's all good. You know what I mean? So definitely just Caribbean aesthetic, Caribbean mystique, right? So you wanna definitely keep that in mind. Your mic and your sound is really important, right? So the next thing I want you to keep in mind when it comes to really delivering something high quality is I want you to keep in mind the visuals. Get a good camera. Get a good web. I mean, even if you're not going to invest in some fancy Nikon, I don't expect you to invest in that. Just get an HD camera. You know, you can get a. This is a Logitech camera I'm suggesting here. And mind you guys, all of these pieces of equipment, I have created a PDF with all of these pieces of equipment, and Francis will send it to you all. Each piece of equipment has a relevant link to it in the Amazon store, so you can just click and end up in the store. You're welcome. I created that for you. You can go and create your own home studio with that. Simple home studio to get you started. All right. So yeah, so he dropped it just now in the chat. Just download the PDF, keep it. It's a live link PDF. Click and you will get what you need. All right. So these are the hardware choices. So this is not meant to overwhelm you. These are simple things that you could get. I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume that everybody already has their own computer, or their laptop, or whatever the case may be. So I didn't really dive into that, but these things will help you kind of set up your space appropriately. All right. So that deals with the hardware. So now let's deal with the software. So the software you need. Now, the software you need here when it comes to video is recording, editing, and streaming. Can you guys still hear me? Still see me? I see the internet connectivity is a little bit thing, right? So yeah, so Logitech is your go-to. It is a really good brand. So yeah, so let's take a look at the slide in the comments right now. Recording, editing, and streaming, right? So when it comes to video, you know, there's live and there's obviously pre-recorded, and there are so many pieces of software, guys. Ooh, I just put together a list here, and I'm sure you're looking at this list and thinking, wow, this is a lot. But these are all the things that could possibly go into video, right? So when it comes to record, you can use Zoom. I use Zoom all the time to record. Zoom has really stepped up their game since the pandemic. I mean, all that money they made from, you know, everybody buying them, right? And I record all of my video, almost all I recorded on my phone. Phones give you really good quality recording right now. Now, this is with the caveat that I don't know if any of you are going to invest in like a Nikon or a Canon level camera. If you are, of course, you know, you get somebody to advise you on those. But these are simple, ready to use things that you may have in this thing, right? So somebody is saying, I love using Prezi. Yes, Prezi is really fancy and really sexy, of course, but that's good for presentations as well, right? So editing, Zoom is free. You can use Zoom for free. Camtasia is paid. Of course, your phone is your phone, right? Editing, OpenShot, very good app. It's a phone app. I use it all the time to edit almost all of my video, to put in music. Of course, if you have, no, not sorry, OpenShot is the desktop app. So you could download OpenShot. It's free, open source software where you could edit videos. I mean, for the summit I edit every single one of the summit videos inside OpenShot. It works very well. And for some of my content videos, I use OpenShot as well. InShot is the phone app, and I use that for my content videos. And to make Facebook ads, I use InShot, right? It's great. It has a bunch of different sizes so that you can do that, right? And Canva, you can also use to edit videos. So somebody is saying Loom. Loom is very good for recording your screen. It's really good. I use another app called Vadu TV for screen recording and for video hosting, as you can see further down, right? And of course, Loom gives you 5 minutes for free, but then you have to pay for the rest, okay? If you want to do live video now and you want to do streaming, right? So you may want to do a private stream to your organization. You may want to run it on YouTube. You know, you may want to stream on StreamYard. Maybe you have a private group on Facebook, or maybe you have a group on LinkedIn, right? Or maybe you have a group on YouTube that you want to stream, or a live channel. You want to stream to StreamYard. You want to multi-stream, right? Be Live is another one, right? Be Live is, I know it says Blive there, but it's actually Be Live. Be Live is another streaming platform that allows you to stream. Restream.io, another streaming, and again, Zoom, of course, right? And you can't produce videos these days now without captioning. It's almost a requirement for accessibility, for people who may not be able to hear, right? And a lot of people watch videos on mute. So when you have your pre-recorded videos, you want to be able to put in captions as well. It adds to the quality of your video. Yes, Trimet, the hearing impaired. So Descript, HappyScribe, those are both online and desktop apps. AutoCap, Mix Captions, both phone apps, right? So captioning is big. So you want to be able to include that. So another one that I've had to use recently is video compressing. Now, sometimes when we record videos and we put all our fancy things inside of them, the size of the video could be really big. A whole gigabyte is a video. So you definitely want to be able to, and yes, for strong accents too, Francis, you're very correct. Actually, somebody who was from Germany in our summit last year actually wrote to me and asked me to put captions on my videos because Trinidadians speak so fast. And she really wanted it to be better, you know? So that is very true. The accent part is really true. So as I was saying, with video compression, Handbrake, another free open source software, is a good way to compress videos and bring them down to a smaller size without losing the quality. It helps, you know, ease up some of these space requirements and storage, because when you're making all these pre-recorded videos, you have to find a way to store them, right? Video hosting, of course, you could host videos on YouTube with private links. You can host videos on YouTube is free. Vimeo is paid. Vadu TV is also paid. I use Vadu to host my private videos, right? And meeting platforms, well, you know, we are on Remo now. That is one. And Webinar Jam is another one. Both can use polls. Webinar Ninja is another one. If you want to stream, you know, they can use polls. People can buy stuff from you. People can download stuff, or whatever the case may be. And of course, you can use Zoom as a meeting platform, right? So these are my, this is also included in the PDF that I sent. So you will have this to be able to keep. So these are my suggestions. Go and research these things. I mean, you will probably just need one of each of them. Once you start to get more familiar with them, you will feel more comfortable, and then you will be able to choose which one is the best one for you. And or maybe you might use a combination of one or two, right? Did you all like that? Was that valuable? Hopefully, I don't know. You're familiar with some. Hopefully, I added a few more that you may have not been familiar with. And so you can keep that and really reference those things. all those tools that's all they need to be able to produce video, pre-recorded video, and with the live streaming, for sure, you will be good to go. Just follow those instructions and you will be good to go. All right. So yes, and I think that is about it there. Do I have any other thing I want to talk to you about? I don't think so. Let me just check my slides, guys. Make sure. All right. Okay, good. So now I'm going to, who's I handing it back over to? Am I handing it back over to Georgia? Francis?
I'm coming back in now for 2
Georgia.
minutes. Yes.
All right. Okay.
Jamila, boy, you gave us the deets, as the young people would say. That was
the deets.
That was a 411. Yes. So we got all that valuable information. And you know one thing, Jamila, we also have some hardware and software, you know, our body and our tone and our language. Yes. Yes, Tanil, the deets. Yes, we got that. So we also have some hardware and software. And it's important for us to, when presenting and we're having these meetings online, that we are aware of our body language. We are aware of our gestures. We are aware of our eye contact. We are aware if our camera is off and we're slouching and we're lying back in bed. People can know that we're lying back in bed. Have you ever spoken to your friend on the telephone and you just know that she's lying down in bed, different from when she's sitting up? You hear it in the voice because we're the diaphragm. So it's so important. Can you imagine you are on a call with your team member and you're going through the performance appraisal, and that team member knows that you're lying and you're lazing off in bed? The kind of impression that makes on that team member. So it's so important that we are aware of our body language, our gestures, how we're pronouncing words. I'm going to use 3 simple words. I love you. And if each word you can, I love you. I love you. I love you. So those 3 words, but just stressing them differently. So it's yes, Francis. We're going
Georgia, jumping in. We just got the 2-minute warning.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is I think you're going to need more than just a couple of minutes in order to give the instructions for the exercise.
Okay.
So what I'll do is I'll reset the room. So everyone, if you're brand new to Remo, what happens next is that we usually do a reset somewhere around now before we go into conference mode. We're going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to do the reset right now. And all you'll have to do is hit the refresh button. So when you hit the refresh button on your browser, first thing it'll say is this event has ended. But don't worry about that. Just hit the refresh button on the browser once again, and then we'll all come back in and join Georgia here in presentation mode, and she'll pick up back and then give us the instructions, and then we'll go back into conference mode. Okay, so all you need to do is sit tight and start hitting the refresh button once the screen closes, okay? And I'll go ahead and do that. Georgia, you can keep talking for about a minute.
Okay, all right, good. So